Welcome to the St. Thomas More Newman Center. I'm very happy to be here welcoming you all. I've been with the Interfaith Association for 31 years. If I can intrude on Karen's why we're gathered today. One of our parishioners gave me a call and said, are we doing anything to make the Muslim folks more welcome in our country? And I said, no, I didn't think of anything specific, but I just got an email from the Interfaith Association that there's a little meeting going on up at Unitarian Church. So let's go there. And all I went for was cheese and crackers. And there was Taranjeet, and I always get nervous when I'm around him. And so we had this meeting, and Karen was there, and all of a sudden we were planning a meeting, and all of a sudden I was to be the MC of it all. And that was 6 years ago, and so I'm thrilled that the Newman Center is hosting the anniversary of that meeting. And so welcome means you're free to move around and free to stay afterwards. There is going to be some desserts or refreshments. I think the welcome, we have a sign out, and the kind of the theme of our institution is all are welcome, and that's very true. So hope you feel welcome, and I always felt welcome as a Catholic priest. So and just that word welcome. If you're welcome, then you don't have to worry about prejudice, you don't have to worry about attacks, you don't have to worry about anything. You are welcome. And just to see the lineup of all those folks representing faith traditions is what, as a Paulist, we are very much dedicated to interfaith and ecumenical relationships. So with that, I move on to Karen. You're going to be next.
First, I'd be very amiss if I didn't say thank you to both Father Vinny and also Father Ed and the Newman Center community for hosting this, for their hospitality, their help and support, and we always love being here, so thank you very much. We come together today because I think we need to. It's been difficult for all of us this past year with the continuation of this health pandemic. We, as many other, probably most other nonprofits, have felt it extremely, but I think all of us do individually, our families, friends, and colleagues. The mission of the Interfaith Association of Central Ohio, and it's been 35, this is our 35th year, actually, of coming together in some form of interfaith prayer gathering that brings people from a number of different faiths together and engage in prayer. And prayer is a term, I think in this context, used to share values and thoughts and needs. The mission of the Interfaith Association Central Ohio has always been creating a vibrant interfaith community based on 3 words: understanding, friendship, and trust. Understanding, friendship, and trust. We need to first know each other a little, right? We need to understand about each other's traditions, worship, practices, rituals. In that process, we build friendships. We build relationships. And in that process, we build trust. We build trust. We all know that if someone is being attacked, discriminated, a hate crime, anything like that, we all show up. We stand together. We try to stand together for social justice as well. So we've been doing this work for the last 35 years. We provide a lot of different programming. We start with visitations to our various places of worship, so we learn more about each other. Again, it's part of the understanding aspect. And we do things together, sometimes in small groups. We have had, especially in the last couple of years, many more programs, webinars and so on, because we could do things online and we could do hybrid programming, and people could be anywhere in the world and participate. So in some ways, that's been the good side of the fact that we've all had to learn some new skill sets. So we've really worked to continue to engage people, but it has been difficult based on the fact that we've had more difficulty getting together in person. But as I said, we've also built more partnerships, we've built more collaborative relationships and events, and we've expanded the number of people who have some contact with us, and that's all the good side. This is our 6th annual prayer gathering. Our 6th annual prayer gathering. And Father Vinny and I were there in the beginning. It ended up being at my host church. We put together that whole event in 3 weeks. And I think we had about 150 people showing up for the service and the potluck. Maybe it was primarily for the potluck, but at least they showed up. And the good news was we ate with people we didn't know. There was all kinds of exchanging of email addresses and getting to know you better and maybe having coffee at another time. It had a real good feeling of the fact that we're bringing people together who, in their normal course of events, just don't come in contact with each other. The 9 faith traditions, which are all on the program because all of them will be speaking, are the Baha'i, Buddhists, Christianity, Hindu, Islam, Jain, Jewish, Sikh, and Unitarian Universalists. And they reflect a tremendous amount of diversity in worship and rituals and practices. But we share many common values based on our faith, including caring and compassion. And that's what the annual prayer gathering has been about. It's been about what we have in common, our shared values. Our shared values. The theme this year, we decided on, it's actually going to be a 2-year theme for the organization, is building trust. Building trust. And we use 3 words: understanding, acceptance, and healing. Those are values and practices shared by all 9 faith traditions, as you will hear from the faith members who will be speaking. I invite you to engage respectfully in this prayer gathering with your heads and your hearts, as we hear from all 9 of our faith traditions. And with that, I will see you a little later and enjoy what you hear. The sentiments are similar, but they're expressed differently, sometimes with different wording. So think about what you're hearing, and hopefully you'll feel it in your heart as well. Thank you.
Thank you thank you for having me here, and I'm honored to open this prayer gathering representing the Buddhists. And you may know Buddhists aren't necessarily big on prayers per se. A lot of Buddhists don't pray to a deity, but we have a lot of texts and things that we say together that are basically prayers, prayer-adjacent things. So I'll share a gatha today, which is just like a verse to remind us of some things. It's just 4 lines. So I'll read it and I'll just explain it a little bit, and then I'll read it again at the end. So maybe we can just kind of take it in today if you're willing, and join me in the sentiments that, as Karen said, we all share, even if we use different language. So this 4-line gatha embodies acceptance. And we had the theme of acceptance, understanding, and healing, and they all interconnect, of course, but I like to kind of begin with acceptance. I think it's appropriate to start with accepting things as they are, and people as they are, and communities, and the world as it is, without trying to change it. A practice that takes reminding again and again, coming back to that. So this particular 4-line gatha I found recently. I was helping a friend of my family. His item, he had passed away. He actually passed away from COVID. He was in a nursing home, and he had a big collection of books, and so I helped just kind of donate those books. And he had among them this pamphlet from a Buddhist community, and so since reading it, I've just been practicing with some of the gathas in the text, and so this is one. And the 4 lines are: this morning, as I wake, I vow with all sentient beings to recognize each thing as it is and to not renounce the world. So this morning, as I wake, it doesn't have to be morning for us to take a moment to just wake up to our experience as it is, to get in touch with our breath, to come back to the fact of our life. And so whether it's morning or afternoon, mind might be drifting, but we might then come back into a collected awareness and wake up to the moment as it is. In the Buddhist tradition, we vow with all sentient beings, which means I vow as a part of one body with all of life on the planet, all human life, as well as the animals and the plants and every other being that we might say is a sentient being, has senses. I vow, when I make a vow, I set an intention as an expression of my connection to all life. So that's what it means to vow with all sentient beings. And then to recognize each thing as it is. This is the core practice of acceptance, to see things as they truly are, to set aside and unlearn our prejudice, the ways we've been socialized to judge others, our discrimination, judging some things as good, some things as bad, to set aside those and seek understanding by just seeing, well, what is really present for me in this moment? And then finally, to not renounce the world. This is a little reminder, I think, too, that we might accept things as they are, but we still might have that sense of some of those things I don't want to have. I want to give those up. Or maybe I want a spiritual bypass that allows me to meditate a bunch and not, pay attention to what's really happening. So it's a call to not go down the road of throwing out anything. Everything belongs to the world. And if you have an idea of a creator God, you might say that everything was created with a purpose. So in Buddhism, we might say that everything belongs in the world as it is, with no exception whatsoever. Everything is here as it should be. So it's sort of a radical philosophy, I would say, we all embody in different ways, in different language, in our traditions, that everything belongs to the world, to not renounce it. So I'll share this with the bell, and I'll read it first in the Japanese, and then I will read it again. Shincho kakugo, Togan Shujo, Isai Chikaku Husa Jipo. This morning, as I wake, I vow with all sentient beings to recognize each thing as it is and to not renounce the world.
Holy One, our only home, blessed be your name. May your day dawn, your will be done, here as in heaven. Feed us today and forgive us as we forgive each other. Do not forsake us at the test, but deliver us from evil. For the glory, the power, and the mercy are yours. Amen. Good afternoon. That was a translation of what Christians often call either the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father, a number of other personal names depending on denominational traditions that came out of the Benedictine Holy Wisdom Monastery in Madison, Wisconsin. And it's one that struck me in my heart in these last 4 years that I have served as the university pastor and director of the Center for Faith and Learning at Capital University. My name is Drew Tucker, and I was called to that work in part to continue supporting interfaith partnerships, multi-faith, non-faith, and different worldview support. And it's been a joy and a struggle and a wonder to figure out how to do that in this kind of world, which is why I'm so grateful to be with you today as we come together and share in this space. With the theme that we have, the idea of thinking through understanding, acceptance, and healing, I was struck by this prayer, in particular in the way that it frames the idea, forgive us as we forgive those who have sinned against us, who have wronged us, who have hurt us in some way. I think about that because in this season, I imagine if you came into St. Thomas More at different times, you wouldn't see a wreath, for instance, here in the front. But in this season, Christians walk toward a time of God showing up as we see it in a different way. And one of the things that brings me hope in seasons like this is that God repairs damage that is done. This is one of the things that in conversations publicly, civilly, politically about reparation that we forget, is that there is a religious foundation for the concept of reparation. That to repair damage done is a part of confessing and forgiving. Toward reconciliation, reparation comes first. And so when I think about accepting and understanding and healing, I think about this season of reparation, of God working to repair the damage done and inviting us to become, as the prophets say, repairers of the breach. And so as we look as a community from our different traditions, from our different worldviews, toward understanding, acceptance, and healing, I commit to you words that I pray might become deeds to work toward repair of the damage that I have done, that my tradition has done, that we have done. that we might find a way forward that brings life and life abundant to all. And so again, I say, Holy One, our only home, blessed be your name. May your day dawn, your will be done, here as in heaven. Feed us today and forgive us as we forgive each other. Do not forsake us at the test, and deliver us from evil. For the glory, the power, and the mercy are yours, now and forever. Amen.
First of all, thank you so much, and thank you for ICO President Karen Dawson, volunteers, and all the welcome guests. It is my honor to present the today's theme, Building Trust During this Health Pandemic, a Jain perspective. By the way, my name is Prankul Jain, and I am going to represent Jainism over here. So today's theme is acceptance, understanding, and healing. What are these things? We all love to hear and to express positive thoughts such as these: acceptance, healing, and understanding. They are uplifting. They make us feel that we are on the side of what is right and what is good. They also tend us to make us think of ourselves as better than or higher-minded than those whom we might think of as lacking in acceptance, lacking in understanding, or lacking a healing vibration. Jainism is not a belief system. Jainism is about cultivating one's soul or jiva by getting closer and closer to our true innate spiritual nature. Any words such as acceptance, understanding, or healing can only be said to exist if they live within us at the level of the soul, the consciousness. Believing in nice things does not make us better. Internalizing them does. Living them does. Sacrificing ourselves for them does. Mankind has invented many things, including binary group of divisions among our own mankind. As we have seen in the recent world, we have classified multiple divisions. For example, black and white, believer and non-believer, my tribe and other tribe, my people and everyone else. Has the world become a better place due to such divisions? Do these divisions foster peace and love and understanding? As any victim of war, oppression, discrimination, or prejudice can attest, the answer is always no. We need more love and understanding, not more divisions, not more conflict, and not more opposing categories. So then, why do we now find ourselves faced with a brand new division in the human race? The division between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, between different people of different opinions as how to manage their bodies and health. Is one side ignorant, while we see the other side is smart and enlightened? Perhaps both sides would say so. However, this is not merely a difference of opinion. The pandemic rages on. When we hear of people losing their jobs and livelihoods over their vaccination status, of people being ostracized by their families, friends, and colleagues, of people being treated as outcasts over what should be a matter of individual conscience, we are not seeing love here. we are not seeing understanding, acceptance, and healing. Instead, we are seeing mankind's usual aggressiveness and oppressiveness. Which religion, at its best, is meant to be cure and undo? One of the central principles of Jainism is Anekantavada. Anekantavada means one-sidedness. As with any virtue of higher-minded spiritual principle, Anekantavad must be internalized. It must be lived. Anekantavad teaches us that the truth is real, but it is extremely complex. So much so that our limited human mind, with our limited human emotions and human agendas, can never grasp all of it once. We have our own point of view, our own opinion. That's always the easy part for everyone. We all believe we are right in holding our own point of view. But Anekantavad teaches us that every point of view or conclusion is based on a limited perception of reality. We see the world from other points of view, including points of view that we might initially dislike. In order to peel away the layers of our own ignorance and achieve a fuller understanding of reality and a fuller understanding of other human beings with whom we share this world. There is a story in the Jain parable, a blind man and the elephant express it so beautifully. We all are blind men and blind women, thinking we can see and knowing everything, but too blind to realize that we are in fact blind and of limited abilities to understand. We must have the character, the humility, the courage, and the gumption to step outside of our narrow comfort zones and reach out to those who believe or choose differently that we do, and to listen openly to their side of reality. If we are to ever have any hope for understanding, acceptance, or healing. Would you like to be understood? Do you wish to be accepted by others? Do you yearn for healing in your heart? I think we all do. You can have it all and much more by first having them for others. Jain Dharma is not only one of the world's oldest religions, but perhaps the most demanding, rational, and radical. Jain principle of interconnectedness of all living beings, non-violence, and simple livings in the interest of everyone. Let us love everyone regardless of the forces that are pulling us apart. Let us listen to one another's heart and minds. Let's stand together to unite and never to further divide. Merely taking such a stand will be the beginning of healing for all the precious soul of this earth. In conclusion, I just want to read something. Khamevi sav jive, savve jiva khamantu me, mitti me sav bhuesu, veram maj na kedai. The translation is, I forgive all living beings. May all living beings forgive me. I have love and friendliness towards all, and hatred does not exist in me. Thank you.
So I'm Steve Edelstein, and I'm here representing the Jewish faith. We've been talking a lot today about the pandemic. And when it comes to plagues, we Jews know a thing or two, or maybe 10. At any rate, throughout the Bible and the prophets, we Jews are admonished by God and by our leaders to keep the faith and keep the laws, or else plagues, pestilence, exile, in short, bad things happening, divine retribution. Maimonides, the 12th century sage and physician, however, was more practical and down to earth than simply divine retribution. While he believed that God was the ultimate director of all things in the universe, he looked to nature for the causes and treatments of disease, theorizing that it was God who had created nature and that humans within nature could figure things out. Our theme today is to talk about understanding acceptance and healing when it comes to the head, heart, and hands. And I'm going to choose healing, and I'm going to talk about hands, which will become clearer in a moment. I want to flash forward now to the 14th century. Europe is gripped by the Black Plague, which is actually the bubonic plague, which was transmitted to Europe on merchant ships and came from fleas on rats that were on those ships. By the time it's over, some 25 million people, over half the population of Europe, are dead. And if you go to Europe, as I have, you will still see plague columns that have been erected in many medieval cities, both to commemorate those who died in the plague and, some would say, to ward off the disease or its successor viruses. Unfortunately for the Jews, who was blamed for the plague in Europe, it was us. But here there's an irony and a lesson for today. I earlier mentioned healing with an emphasis on hands. Other than historic anti-Semitism, what really riled 14th century non-Jews and aroused their suspicion was the fact that the Jews were indeed less likely to contract the plague. And as for why, we turn to the Jewish religion. 14th century was a nasty place in Europe, not a model for sanitation and hygiene by any means. However, the Jews washed their hands as part of their religion, before meals, after using the bathroom. They bathed as part of their ritual preparation for the Sabbath. They buried their dead quickly. In short, while head and heart may have helped them design the rituals of their faith, it was hands that would have more easily gotten them through the Black Plague period, if not for the non-Jews who blamed them for the illness and destroyed over 500 Jewish communities in Europe and killed untold Jewish thousands. What are our lessons for today? Our lesson primarily is to translate our faith into action. Wash our hands, wear our masks, take our medicine, have our shots. Judaism's basic principle, for which all the rituals can be abandoned, is the concept of pikuach nefesh, preservation of life. And to echo that sage Maimonides, if our scientists and medical personnel have discovered ways to prevent and treat the disease that is now among us, let us learn to heed their sage advice. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rakesh Thaplu. I represent the Hindu faith. First of all, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. I want to talk about healing. Healing from the context of understanding our body, understanding our soul, and understanding our connection with the divine. Now, healing cannot happen unless you understand. Pankul talked about it, all the other speakers talked about it. Healing is something which actually you need to internalize. I'm going to recite a Vedic mantra from Rig Veda. It's called Mahamrityunjaya mantra. This ancient Vedic Hindu verse is a great healing and death-conquering mantra, as we believe. Also known as Rudra mantra or Triyambakam mantra. It's a verse of Rig Veda, which is believed to be about 5,000 to 6,000 year BC, before Christ era. Different timelines people believe. It's the oldest, one of the oldest ancient scriptures of Vedic period. The verse is addressed to Triyambaka. Triyambaka, three-eyed one, an epithet of Rudra, who is identified as Shiva in Shaivism philosophy of Hindu faith. Now, healing, Hindus believe in the mantra is beneficial for mental, emotional, and physical health, and consider it moksha mantra, which bestows longevity and immortality. Now, moksha, as many of you would know, it's in the modern literature. There's a concept called karma theory, and it has come from Jainism, it has come from Hindu faith, that moksha is detaching yourself from the material world and connecting you to the eternal soul. That's the real meaning. We interpret it in a different way. So when we talk about longevity and when we talk about immortality, we are not talking about just the physical part of it. We are talking of relieving our connection with the material world and connecting us with the eternal soul. That's what this mantra says. It's sometimes not exactly literal that I have a disease and I'm going to recite the mantra and it will automatically go away. We just heard that our hands have to work. We have to take vaccines. We have to wear the mask. So that is the real karma. That is the work as human beings we have to do to preserve our body, to keep our strength so that we can continue to do the work and reach the eternal soul. So it's not about keeping the medicine on the side, keeping the science on the side, and just reciting a Vedic mantra and you will be cured. So it's a much more complex than that. So I'll recite the mantra and then I'll translate it as well. Om Hum Ju Sa Om Bhur Bhuvah Swaha Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandham Pushtivardhanam Urva Rukameva Bandhana Mrityor Mokshi Mamritam Om Swaha Bhua Bhua Om Swaha Ju Hom Om. The translation is, I worship that fragrant Shiva of three eyes, the one who nourishes all living entities. May he help us be free from death and deathlessness. Now it's very important word, deathlessness. Now deathlessness is about the fact that your soul and your body is completely finished. They are dead. If your body is dead, your soul still is connected to the eternal being, whichever faith you believe in. So deathlessness, that's what it says. I'll repeat. May he help us be free from death and not deathlessness. And like a cucumber from its stem. So when you take a cucumber, if you have plants at home, take it out, it still has a soul inside. It still nourishes something inside. I'm sorry, Pankaj, I'm taking a lot of things from your faith. Jainism believes in that any seed, any fruit, any living which has a possibility of life should not be killed or should not be destroyed. So even the plants. So deathlessness is very important factor here in this mantra. It also means, which may he heal us from all diseases and heal us while severing our bondage with samsara. Samsara is this material world. By making us realize that we are never separated from our immortal nature. Our bodies may be mortal, but in each one of us, there's an eternal soul. There's a part of that highest power in us. May he maintain that immortality. May he keep that connection with the immortal soul. That's the healing, and it comes from the understanding, I will say again, it comes from the today's theme as we have taken here, and I hope all of you take something from it. I wish you all the very best, and thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Donald Jones, and I'm representing Unitarian Universalism. In Unitarian Universalism, we start our services with the lighting of a chalice. This is my little home one that have been used a lot during the pandemic, which we interpret in many ways: the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. I light this chalice with these words by Jean L. Wallstrom. In this small flame dwell, the beacon light of lanterns guiding travelers home, the warmth of hearth fires tended through the generations, the transforming energy of furnaces, and the power and life of our sun. May these blessings, warmth and light and life-giving energy, be kindled in each of us. Light in the darkness, an appropriate metaphor in this Catholic space in the time of Advent, a space I actually spent much time in during college here at Ohio State. As for many, my own spiritual journey brought me beyond the faith home I grew up in, and in the light of this chalice, ultimately became that flickering beacon that led me to a new community, one that echoes many of the values that the Paulist fathers who shepherd this Newman community hold dear. Reaching out, bringing peace, and seeking unity. The unity we seek, as you use, are through our 7 principles, which embody the dignity of all persons, justice for all, the seeking of truth, and the care of the interdependent web of all existence. And in alignment with one of our themes today, our 3rd principle is acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth. While this sounds fairly straightforward on its surface, this acceptance of which we speak is radical. So radical that it decenters a particular conception of the divine and what comes beyond, and rather says, to borrow words from Rumi, which we have in our hymn book, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of learning, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come heretics, doubters, deniers, and believers, come hurt and wounded, rejected and misunderstood. Come together in love. A love that challenges us to embrace the world in all its difference and build a community that welcomes everyone and lifts up everyone and engages with the world through working for justice, confronting systems of power, and transforming ourselves and our world through radical love. And this love calls us to build relationship and trust with all like-minded people of all faiths, within whose traditions the thread of love is sewn across space and time. To that end, we have many ways of naming what is sacred and grounds our being. Even our most beloved hymn is inclusive of people all along the theological spectrum. As I close our reflection and extinguish this chalice, I offer this hymn to you. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Be blessed, be accepted, be love for the world. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. This is the greeting that we Muslims convey to one another and to those whom we love and we care about. So peace be upon you all. My name is Khalid Kebati. You have it all wrong on that piece of paper. You can correct that later on. I can leave my name as well as email if you'd like to address any question or any concern. We are blessed, we Muslims, with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Quran, the last revealed book which the Muslims read every day in their prayers and in between the prayers. And I would like to quote from the Quran directly a verse that's very, very touching. Allah says in بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. O mankind. This verse is addressed to all mankind, by the way. There are other verses that starts with, O you who have believed, but this is for mankind. O mankind, indeed we have created you from a male and a female, and made you peoples and tribes, that you may know one another, that you may get acquainted with one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous of you. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing, all-acquainted. This brings our humanity together, all of us. Allah did not mention you, the Muslims, are the most noble in His sight, or you, the Christians, or you, or you. It's those who are pious. Surprisingly, no one knows who is more pious than the other, right? It's in the hearts. Absolutely. It's in our hearts. It's that little voice with which we talk every night. And in times of trouble, even in times of blessings and happiness, when we go out and we breathe that cold air now and we see a beautiful sun, it's amazing. That's a moment of prayer. That's a moment of awakening. That's a moment of reminding ourselves where we came from, a man and a woman, Adam and Eve. There is yet another beautiful verse, kind of scary, speaking of the hearts. Allah says, إِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارِ إِنَّمَا تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Indeed, it is not the eyes that are blind. It is the hearts in the chest of men and women that are blind. Which is just amazing. Where is our consciousness? Is it in our hearts or our mind, our brain? Dr. Andrew Armour, he's a neurocardiologist. He was just amazed when he did his research about the heart, finding over 40,000 neurons that are exactly the same as those that we have in the brain. And he discovered that the heart speaks more to the brain than the brain speaks to the heart. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. So the blind people out there, they shouldn't be too concerned. What matters is the heart. And then what the hand does with that. Because it is the heart that conveys that message to the brain. And the brain asks the hands to act upon it. And should we think righteously? Should we think beautifully with our hearts, with the love for humanity? And I think no better calamity befell on earth that joined us all together like this pandemic. And I found myself at night and early in the morning. We pray 5 times a day, by the way, for those who don't know that. When making my prayer, saying, "Oh Allah, save humanity." It was no longer for save the Muslims or bring us together. No, it was save humanity. Because that is what we need. We need conscious hearts who can speak to the minds, to the brain, and ask that brain to act righteously. May Allah bless you all. Thank you so much. You have a good evening.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Guramrit Singh, and I'm really honored to be part of this gathering here. And I'll be sharing my perspective, perspective of the Sikh faith on today's theme, building trust. So I'll share perspective of building trust at 2 levels. Building trust in God. Individually, each of us, that's something that we work on every day, every moment. There are times that trust gets shaken, but our faiths, they help us build that trust again. And then building trust in our fellow beings. So that's the second level of building trust that I'll touch upon. So the first one, building trust in God. Guru Nanak the founder of the Sikh faith, on page 1 of the Sikh scripture, Guru Granth Sahib, he starts off, Kiv sachiara hui hai, kiv kuda tutta pal. How can I break this false sense of, these false castles that I built, these walls that I built that separate me from others? Kiv sachiara hui hai, kiv kuda tutta pal. How can I start walking on the path of truthfulness? He answers in the next line, Hukam rajai chalna, Nanak likhya naal. O Nanak, the path is acceptance of the divine will. So that's the path Guru Nanak shows. Accepting the divine will is how you can break these veils of falsehood, these walls that we build to separate us, like one of our other speakers pointed out, these binary distinctions we have made. So, like each one of us, focusing on our faith on daily basis and trying to see, it's difficult. That trust gets shaken, and in challenging times, that trust gets tested, and in personal lived experiences, in tragedies, and in Sikh scripture, I'll use an example of Kabir, who was born to Muslim parents and was raised by Hindu father and mother, and hundreds of his verses were incorporated by Sikh gurus in the Sikh scripture. And talking about a personal challenge, he tells God in his verse, like, here, take your rosary. I can't pray on empty stomach. You need to provide me with means to live a dignified life. So he's even, Kabir, I guess, is losing his trust in God. He's just basically connecting with us. This will happen to you. You will lose trust. And then he's telling God that, see, I'm not greedy. I'm not asking for too much. And so I think this pandemic, it has created challenges where that trust in God that has shaken for us at individual level, and then as we were talking about trust in scientists and doctors and in medicine. So I think that's where we need to sort of individually connect with our faiths, and really happy to see that we all are doing that from our own perspectives, but I can basically we are all doing the same thing. We are describing it slightly differently. Trust in fellow beings. So I'm going to use healing as the basis to describe how we build trust in fellow beings. And Sikh perspective says by serving them. We go back to 1664. Delhi, the capital of India, is plagued by smallpox epidemic. The 8th Sikh Guru goes and camps in Delhi for 9 months, serves people of Delhi, and helps them and organizes the community to help people recover and heal, and contracts smallpox and passes away. 2021, April, the second wave of the pandemic hits Delhi like a calamity Delhi has not seen in recent times. Delhi is basically gasping for oxygen. Sikh brothers and sisters do what they know the best. The gurudwaras, the Sikh temples across Delhi, they set up oxygen langar. Langar is a if you would all have visited Sikh temples, we have a free kitchen. But in Delhi, in April 2021, the free kitchen was turned into free oxygen camps, and so that people could come there and avail of this critical need at the time, so that as they were waiting in lines to get into hospitals. So that's just an example. And as one of our other speakers said, how do we build trust and how do we live our faiths? It's by action. So I hope these few examples from Sikh scriptures and Sikh history and recent times they help me in connect every day to the basic principles of Sikhism and remind me of this call to action. And I'm really glad to hear that we all are trying in our own unique ways to stay focused and stay connected and build that trust in God and in each other. Thank you very much.
We are representing the Baha'i Faith. My name is Jan Shepard. We have Richard Wilson, Dennis Stafford, and on the keyboard we have Siranaj Hindawi. And our presentation today is taken directly from the Baha'i Holy Scriptures and represents a journey that humanity needs to take toward healing, toward building trust. Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i Faith, said,
"The incomparable Creator hath created all men from one same substance, and hath exalted their reality above the rest of his creatures. Success or failure, gain or loss must therefore depend upon man's own exertions. The more he striveth, the greater will be his progress. We fain would hope that the vernal showers of the bounty of God may cause the flowers of true understanding to spring from the soil of men's hearts, and may wash them from all earthly defilements."
Baha'u'llah's son, Abdul Baha, explained to us,
"If you desire with all your heart friendship with every race on earth, your thought, spiritual and positive, will spread. It will become the desire of others, growing stronger and stronger until it reaches the minds of all men."
And to be able to do this, Baha'u'llah advises us to embrace trustworthiness.
Trustworthiness is the greatest portal leading unto the tranquility and security of the people. In truth, the stability of every affair hath depended and doth depend upon it. All the domains of power, of grandeur, and of wealth are illumined by its light.
Then Baha'u'llah asked us to do the following.
"Say, O people of God, adorn your temples with the adornment of trustworthiness and piety. Help them, your Lord, with the host of goodly deeds and a praiseworthy character. We have forbidden you dissension and conflict in my books and my scriptures and my scrolls and my tablets, and have wished thereby naught else save your exaltation and advancement." Baha'u'llah.
Baha'u'llah described that in order to reach trustworthiness, we need to heal. He said,
that which the Lord hath ordained as the sovereign remedy and mightiest instrument for the healing of all the world is the union of all its peoples in one universal cause, one common faith. This can in no wise be achieved except through the power of a skilled and all-powerful and inspired physician. This verily is the truth, and all else not but error.
he told us that the instrument leading to our ultimate goal is justice.
O Son of Spirit, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom if thou desirest me, and neglect it not that I may confide in thee. By its aid thou shalt see with thine own eyes and not through the eyes of others, and shalt know of thine own knowledge and not through the knowledge of thy neighbor. Ponder this in thy heart, how it behooveth thee to be. Verily, justice is my gift to thee, and the sign of my loving kindness. Set it then before your eyes. Ahaballah.
We would like to conclude this journey with this beautiful prayer.
O my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper and their Lord. Baha'u'llah.
Several months ago, we decided to introduce a new initiative into this year's prayer gathering. The pandemic has been devastating for so many families, businesses, and society in general. And what we found is that on many occasions, frontline health workers have been justifiably heralded as heroes in their efforts to combat the disease and to save lives. We thought there is another group which has more quietly and patiently gone about doing their work and offering both concrete and mental health services, and that would be faith leaders, chaplains, clergy, who have provided guidance to both congregants and congregations with emotional support, pastoral care, spiritual counseling, and in many cases, material support. Recognizing such leaders is directly aligned to ICO's goal of building trust with empathetic understanding, acceptance of those in need, and most importantly in this case, finding ways to help those who are suffering heal both in body and in mind. Today we're going to recognize 3 such individuals who were nominated by their faith communities for this recognition. And I'm not sure if all of them are present today, but this is something that in the future we hope to be able to institutionalize going forward in what we do. I'm going to mention one of the nominees, give you a little bit of the narrative, the biography on what he's been able to accomplish. Sandos Al-Sad was actually the person who submitted the nomination. The institution is the Noor Islamic Cultural Center, and Sandos wanted to recognize Azhar Massoud. Azhar is executive director of the Noor Islamic Center. And I just want to give you a few bullet points on what he's done during, in particular, this period of the pandemic. Azhar started a COVID task force to support the community. He initiated a mental health service with a parent support group. And he collaborated with the Musen organization to improve access to people with disabilities. He also brought together, after a wave of losing Islamic youth to suicide, isolation, and seclusion by the political turmoils that we've faced with during the past several years, he put a group together to give them support. He also maintained the staff of the Noor Islamic Cultural Center through grants, through creating a collaborative and collegial work environment, and in overcoming the challenges of being understaffed and limited in resources during these perilous times. Siranaj?
I'm honored to introduce to you Ali Shura. He has been always willing to make things happen. He's a leader with TASO and works with the youth. During this time, he led the youth in collecting and making food boxes for all who have been in need. They delivered 25 boxes to one of the churches. He also delivered 20 loaves of bread for months on end. It was until it's not needed. He consistently looking for projects that the youth and him and TASO and everyone that can make a difference to our community and better the community.
Good afternoon. Just to be clear, I made this recommendation. It did not come from our faith community, but I stand by it. Her name is Anita Ampadu. She is a women's division leader of the local Sokogakai Nichiren Buddhist in Central Ohio. Anita's commitment to members of Nichiren Buddhist faith community is genuine and never ending. During the last 2 years, she has made a point of visiting members always conscious of safety by meeting them out of doors masking and or maintaining social distancing. She drove as far as Waverly and Chillicothe and all over the Columbus metropolitan area to visit members and ascertain their health and emotional status. These visits also necessitated faith encouragement to address isolation many members were experiencing. As well, this faith community lost several members, not necessarily due to the pandemic. Anita, in several cases, assumed some responsibility of preparing the family for memorial services for their loved ones. Now that the organization is preparing for possible in-person events again, Anita is helping those unfamiliar or uncomfortable with technology to upload their vaccine cards so that they can return to the Buddhist Center. I proudly recognize Anita for her understanding and support during these uncertain times. There is a quote in Nichiren Buddhism: "Fortune comes from one's heart and makes one worthy of respect." That is Anita. So Anita is with us, and I'd like for her to come forward.
And the others I don't think are with us today, but we also have plaques that we're going to be getting on today.
Okay, so. All right, I'm going down.
Had to put a little something in there, you know, Karen. I just had to. I just couldn't help myself. You know me now.
Thank you, David.
That was called marching music, just so you know.
I heard a number of people say the head and the heart are really important parts of our bodies, but also our hands. Call to action. That seemed to be a pretty universal theme. And we do use those three words. At first, we have to start with understanding, learning, opening up our own minds, right? To change, to people, to differences. And oftentimes, it is our heart that tells the brain what to do because we feel things. And I was feeling a lot today listening to all of you. But then we have to say, what do we do about it? And that's a call to action. And as part of the prayer gathering, we added several years ago the notion that we should be doing a community service. We should be coming together in a broad community and working together on a project that related to the theme for that annual prayer gathering. We started when we were welcoming the stranger. We worked with the Center for Refugee and Immigration Services in the community. And I think it was on a weekend. It was on a weekend, but I think there were 105 people who showed up to work at an international school that served children of 17 different countries. And they literally, people washed windows and painted the railings and even scrubbed the floor in the bathrooms. I was very impressed by that. The next year we did a project with the Mid-Ohio Habitat for Humanity, and we worked with gardens and outside projects and then ate together afterwards outside also. And again, it was a sense of working together, being together across faith, ages. Lots of families brought their young children because they wanted them to have this experience. It was, again, a good feeling. This year, we are really pleased to be working with the Greater Columbus Red Cross. And we have Corey Paul with us today. And Corey he's executive director of the Greater Columbus chapter of the American Red Cross. He's worked for the Red Cross for 10 years, and he described himself, and I'm quoting him here. I'm a veteran and outdoorsman. I'm responsible for helping to alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies through the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. And I just gave blood last week. I just want you all to know. So I'll call Corey up and ask him to say a few words for us.
Thank you so much. I want to just first personally thank you for having me and allowing me to just be witness to all of the amazing faith tradition and be able to see the parallels of service through this theme. And yes, so the American Red Cross's mission is to alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies through the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. When I was asked for a biography, that was pretty much what I said, because I live this every day, and it's such an honor to do it. But we can't do it alone, right? Not one of us can do much on our own. We need the community. We need support. We need volunteerism. And so, I was really excited to discuss this when we were approached. And so I would like to invite you to join us to alleviate human suffering in communities across the Greater Columbus area. We are hosting new block parties this year. So you typically hear about Red Cross when you need them. Your house has a fire, we show up, we will provide some assistance, get you back on our feet, and then hopefully you don't have to see us. Or you host a blood drive, you go in, you donate blood, and then hopefully you don't need that blood down the line. We know that there are communities across the Columbus area and across the world that need a little bit more help, right? And so we are going to inject ourselves into those neighborhoods that have more fires, that are more vulnerable to disaster, and who also suffer from other health disparities, blood diseases, etc. And so it brings together all of the things that the Red Cross does in one area, one stop shop, but we need folks to help us. Be a host. Shepherd people through the event. There'll be blood donations. There'll be CPR, first aid. There'll be chances to sign up for smoke alarms. All of these things are things that we do on a daily basis, but this is a laser focused on specific neighborhoods. And so I have a lot of handouts. I brought a whole bunch of paper. I would love for you to grab what you find interesting. This is not a one-time deal in April. This is an everyday kind of deal. So I want you to check your smoke alarms when you get home. I want you to make an appointment to donate blood if you can.
And if you can't find someone to donate in your stead, but preparedness, response, and recovery is our business on a daily basis, and we need everybody here. I want to thank you if you've already engaged with the Red Cross in specific ways. We talked a lot about the pandemic. The pandemic had really affected the way that we collect blood, the way that we do a lot of our business work throughout the community. And so being flexible and continuing to understand that the mission is important, I just want to thank you so very much. So I look forward to working with all of you in the spring. I look forward to working with all of you throughout. And I'll be back here to answer any questions that you may have. But if you leave with one thing, I say check your smoke alarms. Fires can happen at any moment, at any time. Be prepared. Get a kit together. Water, food, first aid kits, things like that. You saw what happened in Kentucky just the last couple days, and so that could happen anywhere at any point. And so I just want to again give you that sense that it's important to be prepared, but it's also a chance for us to work into the communities to help them become more resilient and more prepared. I want to thank you again so very much. Thank you so much.
If you check your program for today, and people who are joined us online were also sent a copy of the program. On the program itself, towards the bottom, it says if you'd like to donate online, you can visit our website, www.iaco.org, and click on Get Involved, or use our PayPal Me link, PayPal.me/GiveIACO. We want to make it easy. We'd like all of you to, think about how you might contribute. Money is obviously one way. Your time and talents are obviously important ways as well. As I mentioned in the beginning, any donations made today, we share with the Red Cross and help and utilize it to help the community project that we hope will take place this spring. We're talking about a potential one dealing with health and equity, two major issues. And they're doing those in neighborhoods, and we'd like to be part of one. As part of also indicating your interest, and as a personal request, let me tell you that you will receive it's basically a feedback form on today's program, and hopefully you'll get it later on tonight. My request is that you not delete it, and that you open it. I think there are only 5 questions, so it's not very long. But getting your feedback is really important to us. We are a very low-budgeted, staff-driven nonprofit organization. Basically, you are us, literally. And so hearing from you, getting your input, knowing what's important to you is really important to all of us in making future decisions. So please answer the few questions. You could just click on it, it goes right back to us. But one of the questions on it is if you'd like to know more about our community service project. And if you say yes rather than no, and let us know how to reach you, you will hear, starting sometime early next year, get more information about the event itself, and then you can make a decision if you're interested in joining us. So anyway, that's my strong request. Please fill out the form, send it back to us. And even those people at home, they'll get it as well. To close today, I've asked another very special friend to me, Latif Shandi, to share a song with you. So this will be our closing song. Afterwards, we'll be meeting right outside the sanctuary. I think there's some cookies and water at least. And with our mask, we could do some chatting, meet and greet with each other. So thank you for being here. And I'll turn it over to Latif.
Okay, got my notes straight. Greetings, family. Good afternoon. Such a wonderful day it has been, with the faith traditions coming together on one sacred theme, pointing toward the oneness of humanity. I've been participating since I've been back home here in Columbus with the Interfaith community for about 5 years now. And Karen asked me to choose a song that would echo the theme of giving, of sharing, of finding ways to understand our human value in a collective way. And as a songwriter, poet, I thought, and she and I spoke about it, about doing a song that I had written, but I thought I would choose a song that most of you might be familiar with and just give it a lyrical facelift that would echo the theme of which we're here participating in today. Okay? Julia, if you will, please. Give me a little bit of volume on that, please. Yes, thank you. We're working her. Sometimes in the morning, when shadows are deep, I ponder and reason what life means to me. If I could be gracious as grandmother's hugs, my cup runneth over with love. Sharing love, caring love, running over. We're one human family, sharing this earth, living and learning our purpose and worth in service to others with heart, hand, and glove. The cup runneth over with love. Sharing love, caring love, cup running over. Sharing love, caring love, cup running over. In life's fleeting moments, the young will be old, and all through the journey we nurture the soul. The faithful are grateful for signs from above. Our cup runneth over with love. Sharing love, caring love, cup runneth over. Sharing sharing love, cup runneth over with love. May God bless our united efforts of good. Thank you all for being present.